Looking into hair transplantation and confused about FUE or strip, what is the difference? Let's talk about it. Do subscribe and do click the notification bell so that you're updated with our videos. We'll be talking about strip surgery versus FUE, and we're talking about the donor area today. I'm Dr. Mazhar Hussain, and follicular unit extraction, FUE. The way we do that surgery is we take one follicle by one follicle. So we don't really make a longitudinal cut. We don't do any stitching. We don't use a scalpel. So there's no stitching here. There's no stitch removal because there are no sutures involved. One follicle at a time taken out and one follicle being planted at a time. So that's the major difference between strip. We'll talk about strip. This is the donor area after FUE. This is 12 months after FUE. And the patient had just short of 3,100 grafts. So if we look at strip surgery, a strip surgery is done by cutting out a strip from the back or the sides of the head, and it can have a varying varying length, and it can have a varying width, that strip that is cut off. And then it leaves an open wound in the back of the head or the sides, and that open wound is then stitched, sutured, and you have to come back for suture removal. The strip is taken out and then it's cut into smaller units, and those units are planted into the scalp. If they're cut into follicular units, then it becomes a FUT, follicular unit transplantation. If it's not cut into follicular units, say if you have 2 or 3 follicular units in one graft that is being transplanted into the recipient area, then it's no longer FUT. If you cut it into single hair grafts, not respecting the follicular unit that nature has made, those hairs that grow together from the side of nature, if you haven't done that, if you don't respect the natural follicular unit, then it's also not FUT. Even if it's a single hair transplant, then it's strip surgery, not FUT. So that's the difference between strip surgery and FUT. With FUT, you respect the follicular unit. Once the strip is out, you respect the follicular unit, you cut it into follicular units and transplant those. Anyway, strip surgery is then what you see up here. So this is a strip scar. Down here, what you see is FUE on the day of the surgery. It just goes to show that within few days, this will not be visible. This strip scar is years old and is still visible. So that's quite much of a difference. In practicality, there's also some differences. So with FUE, you can use the whole body as a donor area. So we use scalp hair, of course. We use beard hair, chest hair, pubic hair. You can take hair from the arms. You can literally take any part of the body. You can use it as a donor area. While with strip surgery or FUT, you are limited to the back and maybe the sides of the head. That's it. With scarring, FUE is hardly visible and it looks natural. You can keep your hair rather short, and we'll talk about how you can actually mess up a donor area with FUE in another video. If you are not respecting some very basic principles in your surgery, you can actually make a disaster of that. But with strip surgery, it's much more common to have a very visible scarring and really bad scarring. And it's not, or everybody doesn't have to get bad scarring, but it's more unpredictable. Why? FUE, if you respect the most basic things in FUE, you would hardly have any visible scarring in the donor area. Healing with FUE takes much less time. You can actually, I tell my patients that they can start training as much as they want. After 2 weeks, they don't need to worry about the donor area and its healing. While with strip surgery, in many clinics, they would recommend you not to do a hard physical exercise for a very long time because you have these stitches in the back of your head. FUE, the surgeon usually spends more time in the surgery simply because the extraction, the harvesting of the grafts is much more time consuming. While with strip surgery, the doctor can do that in 1 hour, 1.5 hours total participation in the surgery, while the rest is done by the staff. The price with FUE is higher. It makes great sense. The doctor is more involved in the surgery, and he cannot just leave it and go into work with the other patient. It's not uncommon for strip surgeries to have maybe 2 or 3 strip surgeries going on at a time, because they spend their 1.5 hours, go to the next patient, and then go to the next patient again, and the staff takes over. So that's a major difference also. If we look at some strip scars, FUE scars, this is FUE 15 months after the first surgery. The patient came back for more. It was a Norwegian guy. You can really not see where the scars are. So this was another guy who had a strip scar, and more visible, of course. This is a patient 12 days after his FUE extraction. You can just see there's some kind of thinning or redness over here, but that's about it. This is FUE donor area, while this is a years old strip scar. This is few days back. This is years back. And the strip scar that is even many years old is completely visible, while FUE will not be visible even few days from here. If you look at this, this is at 12 months after the surgery, and this is 4 years, and this is 6 months after a second strip surgery. I mean, there's no way you can miss this. And this patient can up to keep his hair very short. It will be visible. Of course, here you have to keep your hair above the upper scar. You have to keep it longer to make sure that it covers the donor area here. So this is, we also do repair surgeries for, I think we got the wrong heading here. Anyway, we also do strip scar repairs. So this was an Australian mate. He had a hair transplant with another clinic, and we filled in the scars over there. So this is our video on FUE versus strip, about the donor area. We also will do a video about density and other aspects of FUE in a strip surgery. I'm Dr. Mazhar Hussain. Stay tuned for more, and do remember to click the notification bell so that you're updated with our videos. Thank you.